All right, guys, so it's my second hike of the day, and as you can see, it's a lot more crowded than the first hike I did this morning. I'm going to the very popular Norris Geyser Basin, and I'm going to check out some of the cool little hot springs and mud pots and geysers and everything else found here. And I'm going to take you guys along to show you one of the many cool geyser basins here in Yellowstone. First little hot spring here. This is a 1.6 mile loop, by the way, and it also includes Steamboat Geyser, which we'll get to in a minute. All right, so I believe we're coming up here to Steamboat Geyser, and this is the world's largest active geyser. So pretty cool. It only goes off once every like 3 days though, so you have to really time it right.
The old faithful, it was snowing real heavy, and then we crossed the Continental Divide, and suddenly it's clear.
Yeah. We left from Grant and went over there super early in the morning, and it was super pretty through there because all the snow was still on the trees.
Yeah, because there was fresh snow in the morning coming. We came down from Mammoth, and there was fresh snow going all the way down to Norris.
Because when we got up to Mammoth, there was nothing up there. It was clear skies, no rain, nothing.
That's like the poor wall.
And then we got back, so we got our campsite, and then we got back up, and there'd been snow on the trees.
Hey guys, we're gonna go. We're gonna go.
Calm down. Wesley, this is exactly the North.
I wanted something. Everything.
All right, well, I'm gonna keep going. Steamboat's actually having a lot of minor eruptions right now. And I mean, it's huge. If it has a major eruption, you'll know it, but it's totally like not timeable. And as much as I'd like to see Steamboat Geyser go off, I just can't justify sitting there for hours, possibly, or you know, it might not even go off today. Apparently the once every 3 days thing is a new thing for Steamboat. It's generally very unpredictable and sometimes doesn't go off for a long time, but for some reason here lately it's been way more active. But anyway, you can see down there further down into the geyser basin. I'll be hiking down there and checking out some more of those geysers and hot springs. Another hot spring right here, Cistern Spring, and you can see it is boiling hot. You know, whenever you hear the word hot spring in Colorado, that usually means a nice place to take a soak. But here in Yellowstone, it means instantaneous death from boiling sulfur water. So what I'm trying to say is, don't try to swim in the hot springs here. All right, coming up to another geyser here. Of course, I got to show you guys. Very quiet. All right, coming up to the next area of interest here. Doesn't look like, oh wait, here we go. There is a name for this, Crater Spring. So there's Crater Spring right there. Very cool view of the mountains down here in the Norris Geyser Basin. That's honestly the first really like good mountain view I've gotten since I've been in the park. It's just been so cloudy, and with the rain and the snow, didn't get to see much all this morning. Black Hermit cauldron, little mud pot out there. You probably can't really tell in the video, but it's, there you go, it's bubbling quite a lot. Just steaming hot mud. Pretty cool. This is a cool little loop. And I've also noticed there's far less people once you get past Steamboat Geyser. Steamboat is a quarter mile in, and it seems like the vast majority of people that were coming out here just wanted to see Steamboat Geyser and then head back to their cars. So it's pretty cool to see all the rest of this stuff with you know, a lot less people. Look at all that steam coming up over there. Yellowstone is just a great place to visit because there's so many cool like hikes you can do in the backcountry where, you know, you see wildlife and climb mountains and all that stuff. But then there's also all these unique geothermal features too. It's really cool. This is like a good place where you can get a perspective of just how big this geyser basin is. I mean, it is just massive. It's really cool. But, of course, it is starting to drizzle again. A little tiny geyser here looks like it's showing some activity. Vixen Geyser. Couple more geysers over here, and not such a bad view. Alright, one of the last little geysers we're going to see here in the Norris Geyser Basin, and as you can see, that rain has now turned into a pretty heavy sleet. So it is time for me to get back to the car. It has been a real mixed bag of weather today in Yellowstone, I'll tell you. Snow this morning, and then just like alternating from being cloudy to drizzling to sleeting pretty much all day. Probably could have picked a better weekend to come here, but you know, doesn't matter what happens. You always just got to make the best of it. Weather is extremely unpredictable, especially in the Rockies, and you know, you just always got to make the best of it. A little rain or snow or sleet isn't going to hurt you if you're out on the trail. So yeah, one last shot down there to the geyser basin, and you can see, because of the wind and everything else, the steam is just crazy right now. It's cool to look at from up here, but I'm glad I'm not down there right now. Alright, well, I'm back at the Norris Geyser Basin Museum, so I'm all done. As you can see, it's still sleeting. Not the greatest weather right now, so we'll see. I'm still gonna hit some other geyser basins. I just hope that it calms down a little bit. I definitely have at least like 6 more miles of hiking planned for today, so we'll see how it goes. And yeah, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you guys soon on the next hike.